Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel where we bring the most iconic action stories to life. Today we are diving into a true movie story, Taken 2. Taken 2 is a 2012 French action thriller film directed by Olivier Mediton and starring Liam Neeson, Maggie Grace, Famke Janssen, Raid Sherbagia, Leland Orser, John Grease, D.B. Srini, and Luke Grimes. That follows retired CIA officer Brian Mills as he ends up with his family in Istanbul, where he is kidnapped, along with his ex-wife, by the father of one of the men he killed while saving his daughter 2 years earlier. It is the sequel to the 2008 film Taken and the second installment in the Taken trilogy. Released on October 3, 2012 in France by EuropaCorp and October 5, 2012 in the United States by 20th Century Fox, the film grossed over $376 million at the box office, making it the highest-grossing installment of the trilogy, but received negative reviews from critics. A third film, Taken 3, was released on January 9, 2015. At the funeral of his son Marco and associates in Tropoj, Albanian mafia head and freelance terrorist Murat Hoxha vows to seek vengeance on his son's killer. Traveling to Paris with his men, he interrogates and tortures ex-French DGSE agent turned corrupt National Police officer Jean-Claude Pitrel, whose business card was found at the scene of Marco's death, but finds no information. He then bribes a corrupt police official for Pitrel's files and deduces that Pitrel's old friend, Brian Mills, is responsible and is vacationing in Istanbul. Meanwhile, Brian has just finished his 3-day security job for a wealthy Saudi Arabian sheikh in Istanbul and is surprised by his ex-wife, Lenore, and daughter, Kim, turning up to visit him. While going out for lunch with Lenore the next day, Brian spots Murat's men following them. He tells Lenore to run and tries to outrun the Albanians but finally surrenders when they capture Lenore. Realizing that Kim is also a target, Brian calls her at the hotel and tells her to hide in the closet to escape the kidnappers. She narrowly avoids capture when the kidnappers are forced to flee after they shoot 2 security guards. Regaining consciousness, Brian finds himself zip-tied to a pipe over his head in an empty basement. He uses a miniature cell phone hidden in his sock to contact Kim and instructs her to alert the American embassy. Instead, she convinces him to let her help. Opening her father's equipment case, Kim takes a grenade and detonates it on a nearby rooftop. The resulting sound allows Brian to instruct her on triangulating his location. The terrorists bring in Lenore, make a small incision in her neck, and hang her upside down to bleed out. As soon as they leave, Brian frees himself and then Lenore. He next has Kim detonate 2 more grenades to find his location and tells her to look for some steam through a chimney to guide her to his location. Kim tosses a gun down the chimney, which Brian uses to kill the guards holding him captive. He rescues Kim but watches Lenore get recaptured. Stealing a taxi, Brian and Kim pursue the kidnappers' van, and an SUV driven by one of the kidnappers' henchmen arrives to distract them. A chase and shootout ensue, alerting Turkish police, and ends when Brian manages to lure the SUV into the path of an oncoming train, taking it out. Leaving Kim at the American embassy, Brian uses his memory to find Murat's hideout. He rescues Lenore and pursues the surviving terrorists to a bathhouse, where he kills them. Confronting Murat, Brian offers to let him walk if he agrees to return home and cease his desire for revenge. When Murat agrees, Brian drops his gun and begins to leave, but Murat immediately reneges and tries to kill Brian. To Murat's horror, however, the weapon is unloaded, as Brian had removed the bullet, and Brian, knowing that Murat will never let go of his vendetta against him, ultimately kills Murat by impaling him on a sharp towel hook. 3 weeks later, at a diner in Los Angeles, The Mills family has milkshakes to celebrate Kim passing her driving test. To Brian's surprise, they are joined by Kim's boyfriend, Jamie, and she jokingly tells her father not to shoot this one. Alternative version. In an alternative version, Brian rescues Lenore after she is recaptured. The taxi chase then takes place with Brian, Kim, and Lenore eventually making it to the American embassy. He then leaves them both at the embassy to finish it. Olivier Megaton decided against that version since questions arose over Brian's motivation for pursuing Murat. It is included as an extra on the DVD and Blu-ray releases. Citation needed. Cast: Liam Neeson as Brian Mills, Maggie Grace as Kim Mills, Famke Janssen as Lenore, Lenny Mills St. John, Raid Sherbagia as Murat Haja, Leland Orser as Sam Gilroy, John Grease as Mark Casey, D.B. Sweeney as Bernie Harris, Luke Grimes as Jamie Conrad, Olivier Rebordin as Jean-Claude Pitrel, Kevork Malakian as Inspector Dermaz, Lunel as Kim's driving instructor. Production. Filming took place throughout early 2012. Neeson and Grace shot their scenes in January in Los Angeles. Citation needed. The Istanbul scenes were shot in November 2011. 5. Some scenes were filmed during a week at the new film studios of the Site du Cinéma founded by Luc Besson in Saint-Denis in France. Citation needed. Taken 2 was screened on September 7, 2012 at the 38th Deauville American Film Festival. 11. It was theatrically released in more than 25 international markets, including North America, on 5 October 2012. 12. The film was released under the title of Takat, Istanbul in Turkey, Busca Implacável 2 in Brazil, Venganza, Connection Istanbul in Spain, Taken, La Vendetta in Italy and 2 in Russia. 13. Taken 2 grossed $139.9 million in North America and $236.3 million in other territories, which brings the film's worldwide total to $376.1 million against a budget of $45 million. 2. For its opening day in North America, the film topped the box office and earned $18.40 million. 14. $1.5 million of which came from midnight showings. 12. In its opening weekend, Taken 2 grossed $49.5 million in North America, playing in 3,661 theaters, with a $13,525 per theater average and debuting in the number 1 spot. 2. Setting a new record for the highest ever October opening in North America of a film rated PG-13, 15, and earned about $55 million in other markets. 16. During its second weekend at the North American box office, the film dropped 55.8% from its first weekend and grossed $21.9 million while holding on to the number 1 spot. 17. The film grossed a total of $3,385,094 in the Philippines by its fifth week. 18. The biggest foreign markets being UK, France, Australia, and South Korea, where the film grossed $37.8 million, $24.4 million, $20.2 million, and $15.50 million. 19. Critical response. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 22% based on 174 reviews and an average rating of April 21, 10. The site's consensus reads, Taken 2 is largely bereft of the kinetic thrills and surprises that made the original a hit. 20. On Metacritic, the film has a score of 45 out of 100, based on 35 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 21. Roger Ebert, of the Chicago Sun-Times, gave the film 3 stars out of 4, writing, Taken 2 is slick, professional action, and concluding, the cast is uniformly capable and dead serious, and if you're buying what co-writer and producer Luc Besson is selling, he's not shortchanging you. 22. Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times wrote, at a beefy 6'4", Liam Neeson certainly looks physically imposing, but it was the notion of casting someone who can actually act in an action hero role that was the counterintuitive concept that made both films, Taken 2 is more a remake than a sequel, so successful. 23. Bernard Besergluck of The Hollywood Reporter reviewed the film after its screening at Deauville, concluding, there's a touch of vigilante advocacy in the movie that will displease some, with Liam Neeson as a more gentlemanly version of the Charles Bronson of the Death Wish series, but clearly there's still a market for such fantasies. Moviegoers who liked Taken and want more of the same will get precisely that. 24. John Anderson of the Wall Street Journal wrote that there is a blind adherence to formula evident in most of Taken 2. As they might say in the advertising department, it's an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride. But it could have been much more. 25. Lisa Schwartzbaum of Entertainment Weekly gave the film a C grade, writing, you know what happens in Taken 2, don't you? The same thing that happened 4 years ago in Taken, but different. But the same, and that Taken 2 is simultaneously silly, nasty, a lazy festival of stereotypes, and a cleverly made piece of merchandise, i.e., it's the devil we know. 26. Neil Genslinger of the New York Times wrote that much of Taken 2 seems like a non-stop car and foot chase, with Albanian after Albanian fallen victim to Brian's remarkable aim and hand-fighting skills. Foreigners bad, Americans good, box office busy. 27. Keith Phipps of the AV Club gave the film a C grade, writing, what begins as a family outing, with a hint of rekindled romance between the parents, devolves into kidnapping, the word taken gets thrown about liberally, torture, high-speed chases, and other misadventures probably not smiled upon by the Turkish Board of Tourism. None of it is particularly novel or exciting. 28. Scott Bowles of USA Today gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, writing, the first half of Taken 2 is a serviceable action flick, but the second half descends into cliches, and, times, Taken 2 even steps from the shadows of the original with some terrifying imagery and an improved relationship between father and daughter. Alas, the movie can't help but descend into a pat part 2, bereft of much suspense or tension. 29. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian gave the film 2 stars out of 5, concluding, in the first movie, from the tail end of the Bush era, Liam was not shy about using Jack Bauerish torture techniques, wiring up evildoers to the mains and zapping them with righteous volts. None of that now. That was a 15, this is a 12A, a bit tamer, just as ridiculous, but the premise is looking pretty tired. 30. Joe Newmayer of the Daily News also gave the film 2 stars out of 5, writing, Taken 2 has a plot that could have been written by a GPS program, and contains all the technical charm that conjures up. Yet somehow, Liam Neeson growls through this just acceptable action sequel with his dignity intact, his wallet bigger and his movie family oblivious to all that occurred in 2009's Taken. 31. Neil Smith of Total Film gave the film 2 stars out of 5, concluding, yet while it's fun to watch him take out the Eurotrash, we've seen him do it better. 32. And Hornaday of the Washington Post gave the film 1 star out of 4, writing, you can't blame Liam Neeson, or the Taken producers, for trying to catch lightning in a bottle again. What you can blame them for is Taken 2, a sequel every bit as clumsy, ham-handed, outlandish and laughable as the original was sleek, tough and efficient. 33. Audiences polled by the market research firm CinemaScore gave the film a B+ grade on average, lower than the A- earned by its predecessor, 16. William John Neeson OBE, born June 7, 1952, is an actor from Northern Ireland. 3. He has received several accolades, including nominations for an Academy Award, a BAFTA Award, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and 2 Tony Awards. In 2020, he was placed 7th on the Irish Times list of Ireland's 50 greatest film actors. 4. Neeson was appointed Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in 2005. Neeson made his film debut in 1978 with Pilgrim's Progress, followed by early roles in Excalibur, 1981, The Bounty, 1984, The Mission, 1986, The Deadpool, 1988, and Husbands and Wives, 1992. He rose to prominence portraying Oskar Schindler in Steven Spielberg's Holocaust drama Schindler's List, 1993, for which he earned an Academy Award for Best Actor nomination. He played leading man roles in drama films such as Nell, 1994, Rob Roy, 1995, Michael Collins, 1996, and Les Miserables, 1998. He took blockbuster roles portraying Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars, Episode I, The Phantom Menace, 1999, Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, 2005, and Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia trilogy, 2005 to 2010. Neeson acted in films such as the historical drama Gangs of New York, 2002, the romantic comedy Love Actually, 2003, the biographical drama Kinsey, 2004, the erotic thriller Chloe, 2009, the religious drama Silence, 2016, the fantasy film A Monster Calls, 2016, the crime thriller Widows, 2018, the anthology film The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, 2018, and the romantic drama Ordinary Love, 2019. Beginning in 2009, Neeson cemented himself as an action star with the action thriller series Taken, 2008 to 2014, The A-Team, 2010, The Grey, 2011, Wrath of the Titans, 2012, A Walk Among the Tombstones, 2014, and Cold Pursuit, 2019. He is known for his collaborations in the genre with the director John Collatsera and starred in 4 of his films: Unknown, 2011, Nonstop, 2014, Run All Night, 2015, and The Commuter, 2018. On stage, Neeson joined the Lyric Players Theatre in Belfast in 1976 for 2 years. On Broadway, he earned 2 Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play nominations for his performances as Matt Burke in the revival of Eugene O'Neill's Anna Christie, 1992, and John Proctor in the Arthur Miller revival of The Crucible, 2002. He portrayed Oscar Wilde in David Hare's The Judas Kiss, 1998. Early life and education. Neeson was born in Ballymena, County Antrim, 6, the son of primary school caretaker Bernard Bonnie Neeson and cook Catherine Kitty Neeson, née Brown. 7. His mother was born and raised in Waterford in the southeast of Ireland. 8. Brought up Catholic. 9. He was named Liam after a local priest. 10. He has 3 sisters, Elizabeth, Bernadette, and Rosaline. 11. He attended St. Patrick's College, Ballymena, from 1963 to 1967, and later recalled that his love of drama began there. 12. He said that growing up as a Catholic in a predominantly Protestant town made him cautious. 13. And once said he felt like a second-class citizen there. 14. But has also said he was never made to feel inferior or even different at the town's predominantly Protestant technical college. 15. It would be colorful to imagine I had a rebellious, uproarious Irish background, he has said, but the facts were much grayer. Irish, yes. But all that nationalistic stuff, crying into your Guinness and singing rebel songs, that was never my scene. 16. He has described himself as out of touch with the politics and history of Northern Ireland until becoming aware of protests by fellow students after Bloody Sunday, a massacre in Derry in 1972 during the Troubles, which encouraged him to learn more local history. 15. 17. In a 2009 interview, he said, "I never stopped thinking about the Troubles. I've known guys and girls who have been perpetrators of violence and victims. Protestants and Catholics. It's part of my DNA." 18. At age 9, Neeson began boxing lessons at the All Saints Youth Club, and went on to win a number of regional titles before quitting at 17. 19. He acted in school productions during his teens. 20. His interest in acting and decision to become an actor were also influenced by Ian Paisley, founder of the Democratic Unionist Party, DUP, into whose Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster he sneaked. He said, "Paisley had a magnificent presence and it was incredible to watch him just Bible thumping away. It was acting, but it was also great acting and stirring too." 21. In 1971, he joined a physics and computer science course at Queen's University Belfast before leaving to work for the Guinness Brewery. 22. At Queen's, he discovered a talent for football and was spotted by Sean Thomas at Bohemian FC. There was a club trial in Dublin and Neeson played one game as a substitute against Shamrock Rovers FC, but was not offered a contract. 23. Career 1976 to 1993, rise to prominence. After leaving university, Neeson returned to Ballymena, where he worked in a variety of casual jobs, such as a forklift operator at Guinness and a lorry driver. 24. 25. He also attended teacher training college for 2 years in Newcastle upon Tyne before again returning to his hometown. In 1976, he joined the Lyric Players Theatre in Belfast, where he performed for 2 years. He got his first film experience in 1977, playing Jesus Christ and the Evangelist in the religious film Pilgrim's Progress, 1978. He moved to Dublin in 1978, when he was offered a part in Ron Hutchinson's Says He, a drama about the Troubles, at the Project Arts Centre. He acted in several other project productions and joined the Abbey Theatre, the National Theatre of Ireland. 26. In 1980, he performed with Stephen Ray, Ray McAnally, and Mick Lally, playing Dolty in Brian Friel's play Translations, the first production of Friel's and Rhys Field Day Theatre Company, first presented in the Guildhall in Derry on 23 September 1980. 27. In 1980, filmmaker John Boorman saw him on stage as Lenny Small in Of Mice and Men and offered him the role of Sir Gawain in the Arthurian film Excalibur. After the role, Neeson moved to London, where he continued working on stage and in small-budget films and television. He lived with actress Helen Mirren, whom he met working on Excalibur. 28. Between 1982 and 1987, he starred in 5 films, most notably with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins in 1984's The Bounty, and Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons in 1980's Success the Mission. Neeson guest starred in the 3rd season of the television series Miami Vice in 1986, and moved to Hollywood the next year to take higher-profile roles. 28. He starred with Cher and Dennis Quaid in Suspect, which brought him critical acclaim. In 1988, he appeared with Clint Eastwood in the 5th Dirty Harry film, The Dead Pool, as Peter Swan, a horror film director. In 1990, he had a starring role in Sam Raimi's Darkman. Although the film was successful, Neeson's subsequent years did not bring him the same recognition. He also starred in the eponymous role for the film Ethan Frome, 1993. 1993 to 2000, breakthrough and acclaim. Steven Spielberg offered Neeson the role of Oskar Schindler in his Holocaust film Schindler's List, 29, after seeing him in Anna Christie on Broadway. Kevin Costner, Mel Gibson, and Warren Beatty had all expressed interest in the part. 30, 31, Beatty even auditioned. 30, but Neeson was cast in December 1992. 31, he had read Keneally's book and concluded that his character enjoyed Frukin, sick, with the Nazis. In Keneally's book, it says he was regarded as a kind of a buffoon by them. If the Nazis were New Yorkers, he was from Arkansas. They don't quite take him seriously, and he used that to full effect. 32, his critically acclaimed performance earned him a nomination for a Best Actor Oscar and helped the film earn Best Picture of 1993. He also received BAFTA and Golden Globes nominations for the performance. In 1993, Neeson made his Broadway debut playing Mac Burt in the revival of the Eugene O'Neill play Anna Christie, starring opposite his Ellis Island co-star and future wife Natasha Richardson. For his performance, he was nominated for the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play. 33, the following year, they also worked together in Nell, 1994, starring Jodie Foster. He then took leading roles in several period piece drama films, including playing the lead role of Rob Roy McGregor in the historical drama Rob Roy, 1995, opposite Jessica Lange, Brian Cox, and Tim Roth. Critic Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times praised his ability to be a leading man, writing, Neeson, tall and grand, makes an effortless hero as Rob Roy. 34. The following year, he acted in Neil Jordan's historical drama Michael Collins, 1996, alongside Julia Roberts and Alan Rickman. Neeson portrayed the title role as the Irish revolutionary leading the fight for Irish independence. The film premiered at the Venice Film Festival, where it received the Golden Lion with Neeson earning the Volpe Cup for Best Actor. 35, he later earned nominations for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture Drama. 36, Todd McCarthy of Variety praised his performance, writing, Neeson is a compulsive dynamo as Collins, with the actor seizing his part with a passion and boldness utterly in keeping with the character's approach to life and his cause. 37. Neeson portrayed Jean Valjean in the 1998 adaptation of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, directed by Billy August. He starred alongside Uma Thurman, Geoffrey Rush, and Claire Danes. Writing of Neeson's performance, Janet Maslin of the New York Times wrote, he plays the role with the sure physical authority and profound decency that are fundamental to Valjean's character, adding, with a first-rate cast and a venerable storytelling style, it fluently condenses Victor Hugo's epic novel and retrieves some of its suspenseful momentum. 38. That same year, he returned to the stage in the David Hare play The Judas Kiss, 1998, portraying Oscar Wilde, which ran at both the Almeida Theatre in the West End and the Broadhurst Theatre on Broadway. 39, he acted alongside Tom Hollander and Peter Capaldi. 40, in 1999, he acted in the supernatural horror film The Haunted, 1999, opposite Catherine Zeta-Jones. 1999 to 2007, blockbuster roles. Wax figures of Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn fighting Darth Maul in Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. In 1999, Neeson starred as Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Director George Lucas cast Neeson because he considered him a master actor, who the other actors will look up to, who has got the qualities of strength that the character demands. 41, as the first Star Wars film to be released in 16 years, it was surrounded by media anticipation. Despite mixed reviews from critics and fans, 42, the film was a box office success. 43. Neeson's performance as Kagan received positive reviews, 44, 45, and a Saturn Award nomination. A stock recording of his voice from The Phantom Menace can be heard during a scene in Star Wars, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, 2002. 46. Neeson was later reported to be appearing in Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, 2005, 47, but ultimately did not. In the animated television series Star Wars, The Clone Wars, 2008-20, he voiced Kagan in 2 episodes of the 3rd season and 1 episode of the 6th season, 46, and he also made a voice cameo as Kagan in Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, 2019. 48. Neeson appeared as Kagan in the final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, 2022, appearing as a Force ghost to Obi-Wan, in an uncredited cameo, marking his first live-action portrayal of Kagan since The Phantom Menace. He later voiced Kagan again for an episode of the animated Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, 2022. Neeson narrated the 2001 documentary's Journey into Amazing Caves, a short film about 2 scientists who travel around the world to search for material for potential cures, and the Endurance, Shackleton's legendary Antarctic adventure. The latter won awards at a number of film festivals, including Best Documentary from both the Chicago Film Critics Association and the National Board of Review. Neeson returned to Broadway in the revival of the Arthur Miller play The Crucible, acting opposite Laura Linney. For his performance as John Proctor, he received a nomination for the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play, 49. Charles Isherwood of Variety praised Neeson, writing, in his thoughtful performance as Proctor, the effortlessly charismatic Neeson subtly delineates a man's moral evolution as Proctor moves from casual scorn for the proceedings to outrage to soul-stricken despair, adding, perhaps the finest aspect of Neeson's performance is its admirable restraint. 50. That same year Neeson acted with Harrison Ford in Kathryn Bigelow's 2002 submarine thriller K-19, The Widowmaker, as Captain Mikhail Polmin. He was also in the cast of Martin Scorsese's historical drama Gangs of New York with Daniel Day-Lewis, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Cameron Diaz, 51. In 2003, he played a recently widowed writer in Richard Curtis's romantic comedy ensemble Love Actually, 2003, acting alongside Hugh Grant, Colin Firth, Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, and Laura Linney, 52. The film was a commercial success and has since become a cult classic and holiday favorite, 53, 54, 55. The following year, he portrayed Alfred Kinsey in the biographical drama Kinsey reuniting with Laura Linney, Peter Sarsgaard, and John Lithgow, 56. Neeson received a nomination for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture Drama, losing to Leonardo DiCaprio for The Aviator, 2004. 57. That year, Neeson hosted an episode of the NBC sketch show Saturday Night Live. He starred as a redneck trucker, Marlon Weaver, in an Appalachian Emergency Room sketch and as a hippie in a one-off sketch about 2 stoners, the other played by Amy Poehler, who attempt to borrow a police dog to find their lost stash of marijuana. Despite vowing not to play any Irish stereotypes, Neeson did play an Irish man named Lorcan McCardle in the home makeover show parody, You Call This a House, Do Ya? 58. Neeson, Left, and Ralph Fiennes at a U2 concert in Madison Square Garden, October 2005. In 2005, Neeson took multiple roles in mainstream blockbuster films. He portrayed Godfrey of Ibelin in Ridley Scott's epic adventure Kingdom of Heaven, Ra's al Ghul, one of the main villains in Christopher Nolan's action film Batman Begins with a Frown 59, and Father Bernard in Neil Jordan's adaptation of Patrick McCade's novel Breakfast on Pluto, 60. That same year, he replaced Brian Cox, playing Aslan the Lion in the fantasy adventure film The Chronicles of Narnia. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, 2005, an adaptation of the C.S. Lewis book of the same name, 61-62. In The Simpsons episode, The Father, the Son, and the Holy Guest Star, 2005, he voiced the kindly priest who, briefly, converts Bart and Homer to Catholicism, 63. In 2007, he starred in the American Civil War epic Seraphim Falls. Neeson voiced the main character's father, James, in the video game Fallout 3, 64. Executive producer Todd Howard said, "This role was written with Liam in mind, and provides the dramatic tone for the entire game." 65. Fallout 3, the third game in the Fallout series, was extremely well received by critics and shipped 4.7 million copies by the end of 2008, the year it was released. 66. In the director's commentary of the 2007 Transformers DVD, Michael Bay said he had told the animators to seek inspiration from Neeson in creating Optimus Prime's body language. Neeson appeared as Alistair Little in the BBC Northern Ireland/Big Fish Films television drama, 5 Minutes of Heaven, which tells the true story of a young Protestant man convicted of murdering a Catholic boy during the Troubles, 67. 2008, present, action stardom. Neeson in 2008. In 2008, Neeson starred in the action film Taken, a French-produced film also starring Famke Janssen and Maggie Grace, based on a script by Luc Besson and Robert Marc Kamen and directed by Pierre Morel. Neeson plays a retired CIA operative from the elite Special Activities Division who sets about tracking down his teenage daughter after she is kidnapped. Taken was a worldwide box office hit, grossing $223.9 million worldwide, making almost $200 million more than its production budget. Neeson has said in interviews that he believed that Taken had put some people off the idea of actually traveling to Europe. 68. Taken brought Neeson back into the center of the public eye and resulted in his being cast in many more big-budget Hollywood movies. That year, he also narrated the documentary Black Holes, The Other Side of Infinity, and again lent his voice to Aslan in The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, 2008. 69. He also provided a voice for Hayao Miyazaki's anime film Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea, which received an August 2009 release, 70. In 2010, Neeson played Zeus in the remake of the 1981 film, Clash of the Titans. The film was a huge box office hit, grossing $475 million worldwide, 71. Neeson also starred in Adam Egoyan's erotic thriller, Chloe, theatrically released by Sony Pictures Classics on March 26, 2010. Chloe had enjoyed commercial success and became the Canadian director's biggest money-maker ever, 72. Later the same year, he played John Hannibal Smith in the spin-off movie from the television series The A-Team, 73. 74. Neeson voiced Aslan once more in the 2010 sequel The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That same year, he made a guest star appearance on the Showtime series The Big Sea with Laura Linney, 75. In 2011, Neeson starred in the action thriller Unknown, a German-British-American co-production of a French book filmed in Berlin in early 2010, and directed by John Collatsera. This film led to a collaboration between Neeson and Collatsera, as director and/or producer, on a series of similar action films including Non-Stop, 2014, Run All Night, 2015, The Commuter, 2018, and Retribution, 2023. Neeson reunited with Steven Spielberg with plans to star as Abraham Lincoln in the 2012 film Lincoln, based on the book Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin, 76. In preparation for the role, Neeson visited the District of Columbia and Springfield, Illinois, where Lincoln lived before being elected, and read Lincoln's personal letters. 77. Neeson eventually declined the role, claiming he was past his sell date and had grown too old for the role, and was replaced by Daniel Day-Lewis, who won his third Academy Award for Best Actor for playing Lincoln.